Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ali Sahabi. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Optimum Seismic. I have been a general engineering contractor practicing sustainability since 1988. In Southern California, our number one sustainability issue is seismic resiliency. You can't be sustainable if you're not earthquake resilient. I like to use an analog of a building. If you can imagine a building being sustainability and resiliency, its foundation. Any building without a foundation eventually will fall. This is the connection between resiliency and sustainability. We can't separate them. Unfortunately, there is a myth that the economics of retrofitting are not practical. That myth is wrong. I'm here to share with you some examples of why it is wrong. First, researchers at Caltech found that for every dollar spent on retrofitting of soft story structure, property owners could expect to save up to $7. That's a very good return on investment, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I want to share with you specific examples. On one spectrum, for a small building, a 10-unit apartment building owned by a mom and pop owner, the average value of that building in Southern California is about $2.5 million. The cost of retrofitting, $75,000. That's just 3% of the value of the building to save what is likely their life's investment. On the other end of the spectrum is Anheuser Busch, the so-called king of beers. Their Los Angeles brewery, located in San Fernando Valley, has been through two major earthquakes, Sylmar in the early 70s and Northridge in 1994. This is an amazing story. This is something that every business needs to really pay attention to. After the Sylmar earthquake, they invested $1.2 million to do seismic retrofitting of their existing buildings and the new buildings that they were building, making sure that they are seismically safe. After Northridge earthquake, Anheuser-Busch estimated that their retrofit saved them more than $1 billion, 90 times of the cost of the retrofit, $750 million of that in potential economic losses, and $350 million was in potential building damages. They were standing after the earthquake. In fact, they were one of the companies that was providing water. Some of you that were here back in Northridge, there were lines, miles of people standing to receive clean water. And they were one of the companies that came out and helped the community at that time. The numbers are bigger in this case for Anheuser-Busch, but the result is the same. The building and the businesses are saved by proper resiliency planning. We want the businesses of every size to wake up to the fact that retrofitting and other seismic resiliency efforts have an economic benefit. They're not a detriment. To the businesses that own their own building, it's another myth. Don't think that this does not matter to you. It does. In addition to having your own response and recovery plans, all business owners should know if the building they lease is retrofitted or not. Otherwise, you risk losing it all. I would like to, at this time, invite Evan Rees here. Evan and I co-authored a white paper which you have in your press kit. This is the first of 2 white papers. I'm truly honored to working with Evan. Evan, as you know, is the co-founder and current executive director of U.S. Resiliency Council, and by far he's probably one of the most knowledgeable individuals. He's a structural engineer, and he practiced engineering for 30 years or so. And but he's also a leader. He's also a good manager that can communicate the message that is so important to all of us. Evan and I, we co-authored this paper, and we're going to be doing a second phase of it in the near future. But we identified the vulnerabilities of what all businesses should pay attention to. One, when the earthquake happens and you're not prepared, ladies and gentlemen, you lose cash flow. You lose equipment inventory. You heard that many times here before. Loss of workforce. You lose your most valuable asset, your employees. They're not going to stick around for you to reposition your company in a year or two. It just won't happen. They have bills to pay. Liability for losses, we heard about that. And environmental concerns, the hazardous waste and so on. But what business can sustain all of these loss and liability is not conceivable. That's why FEMA is telling us that if we follow the status quo, 40% of our businesses will not survive after a major earthquake. Yet, this is preventable. Earthquakes are not preventable, but a disaster is preventable. I'm really honored on behalf of Optimum Seismic to be part of this effort that intends to change the culture of our business community, to make earthquake resiliency part of our business planning process, not just an afterthought. This makes me personally, as the COO of this company, proud, because we are making a difference in our community for generations to come with these efforts that are being publicly discussed here today. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.